Hey all, hey loves. Oh, I miss you. I am so happy to be here live with you today. And if you are here with me, please let me know because I don't know you're watching. If you don't, tell us in the chat. I hope everyone is doing well, doing fantastic. And like I said, if you're here with us, please let us know. If you have questions, put them in the chat. I like an interactive podcast. So let us know that you're here. I'm super excited. I want to give a shout out to our very own here, local Neo Mafi. I'm kind of getting emotional. Neo is an incredible young man who I have witnessed just grow from a incredible kid to this incredible, just powerful, committed athlete. And he just got drafted by the New England Patriots over the weekend, and was so inspired. It's just really a testimony to go after your dreams. Don't give up because anything is possible. Anything is possible. And today, my guest is really phenomenal, fabulous. And he also is such an inspiration to show us that anything is possible. And before I introduce our fabulous guest today, just a reminder that am hosting another in-person workshop at KG Fitness Studio here in San Mateo. I always look forward to seeing you all in person. And thank you so much for joining me on another episode of Real Talk, where I get to have real life conversations with incredible people from my circles and communities who have overcome challenges and created amazing. Like I said, my guest today is amazing, fun, dynamic. My guest today is Berlin Fisher. Berlin is the fabulous bad boy of beauty, master stylist, and NBC California Live on air host. Berlin has had the honor of working with some of the greatest designers in the world, such as Armani, Donna Karan, Versace, Ralph Lauren, and various independent designers throughout San Francisco. His work has been published in leading fashion magazines. Berlin creates hair and makeup for runway shows and is involved with photography and print ads and has been featured on NBC and ABC as an on-air host and beauty expert. I'm so excited for Berlin to join me and share his journey with us because he is absolutely fabulous. Welcome, Berlin.
Hey, good morning. How are
Um,
you?
I'm great. I'm so excited to play with you today.
I'm excited. It's about to get real.
Yes, I love it. I love it. That's why it's called Real Talk.
Yes, yes,
Uh,
yes, yes.
how are you, my friend? I always love
Good,
being in
thank
your
you. Sorry about the dogs. They're hearing us talk. They'll settle down.
no worries. I always love being in your energy because you just have a very positive, just high vibration vibe, and I always leave you feeling fantastic.
Well, thank you. And I have to say, how we met is on set for my gig with my side hustle. My side hustle is a TV show, so I'm an on-air contributor for California Live, and I met you doing my side hustle. You're one of our models, and
Yes,
immediately radiated beauty and love, and I just really enjoyed. I enjoy when you're on set with us. So let me just say that, and it's such a great thing how what I do brings me to so many places and so many people. So, that's how we were brought together. So
yes.
I'm excited for that.
Oh, I'm so excited. That's what I love about my job and about just connecting with incredible people and, people who are empowered and movers and shakers and people, like I said, who overcome challenges and create amazing. And you've definitely, done that. I know, kind of want to talk a little bit. I know that you worked for Glambly years ago, which was a very successful, internationally recognized hairstyling company. And you worked with really high profile, top name um, people, and you're very successful. And at some point, you were inspired to leave and become an entrepreneur and go out on your own. I mean, that's scary. Talk to us a little bit about that journey.
So, back in the day when I first started, I came to San Francisco with nothing. It felt like a place that I could be free and I could be myself. I came from conservative Orange County at the time. And so, I came there and I founded, I worked as a theme in my life. I didn't let the idea that I was new in the business stop me from applying for a job on the top.
Nice.
I go for things on the top because there's saying shoot for a star, you might land on the moon.
Yeah.
So I don't shoot for the clouds, right? I go higher, and so I applied for a job as a actually only 6 months into the business to go to other stores that had salons and train people.
Oh,
That's how I just that was how my mind worked, and I landed the job after a 6 month sort of audition with that. And so working for them, it was a great experience. I was young in my career, and I always had an innate sense of responsibility to my career. And so, and it was a huge corporation at the time, or a huge family business at the time. And after it ended, I really just realized that I needed to be in a space where I could I'm different and I felt different and I needed to be able to spread my wings and I needed to be able to fly and I couldn't do that with strings attached.
mm.
There's a difference between a bird and a puppet. And
Oh, I like that.
I was a bird, I wasn't a puppet. So I just, I don't, I was young and just, I just, at that time, it's sort of like, you can walk along the side of a cliff when you're young and you don't think about the consequences of falling off. You just do it because it's thrilling, right? As
Yeah.
you get older, you get further away from the cliff because you know what the consequences are. So if I had that opportunity today, without all the experience that I have, I don't know if I could do that. But at that time, it was sheer innocence, sheer enthusiasm, and I just jumped, And there's a saying that if you jump, the net will appear. I listen to a lot of Tyler Perry motivational
Love him.
videos, and he talks about sitting on the side of a cliff and watching everybody go by. And you have to make a choice: are you going to jump and get into that stream, or are you going to stay on the side and just watch people and kind of complain about like where you are, what's going on in your life, how good or bad it is? And so for me, I decided to jump, and I let me do something really quickly. Let me plug my computer in. She's yelling at me a little bit about power. So
I'm glad. I don't want to lose you.
conversation because my computer is telling me to power it up. So
Power it up, baby.
power. I just, I went off on my own. I joined a team. I changed my name. I was into branding before branding was an industry, and I created the Berlin brand. And I just, went out there and I would say something that's different from people getting into business today versus when I was in business. I did a lot of free work in order to get paid. And a lot of people aren't willing to do that. They come into business and they're like, I want to make what you make today. And they don't see the 20 years of work that I put into what I've done.
Right.
And so, you've got to be willing to give to receive or empty the well in order to fill it.
Yes.
And so that's what I did. I went out on my own. I joined a pack of artists, and we would go downtown in Union Square, and we would get the hotel to give us a suite. Then we would get a designer to give us clothes. We would get models. We'd get hair, makeup, and then we'd get a restaurant in the hotel to provide hors d'oeuvres, and we would do trunk shows.
Oh, that's amazing.
And everybody would volunteer their time to do that, and then we would get clients out of it, and that's how we would build clients. And so, and nobody got paid. It was all artists coming together. And so, that was part of taking that leap is the willingness, right? You have to be willing. My sobriety will be woven in and out of this. I'm not afraid to share it. It's a really huge part of my life.
Amazing.
I would be nowhere where I am today if I wasn't sober. And so when I decided to get sober many years later, I didn't know how willingness played into that. But I definitely had willingness at that time to be successful. And so I was willing to do photo shoots and not get paid, do these fashion shows and not get paid. But it always put me in a position where I would meet people like you, and then I would be in a situation that would lead me to another, and then that's how you grow. That's how you blossom into a flower.
Yes. I love how you said that, because my entire career in staffing and in coaching, I still do so much work for free. And just like you said, it just leads me to meet this person, to that person, and it gets me. And I continue to do work for free and give, but then it comes back in other ways. And it's been, an incredible journey for me as well. And again, I didn't just wake up wake up overnight and be here. It took 2 decades of work and giving and sacrifice and action, and failures.
I did television for over 15 years and never got paid. It took me 15 years to get paid to do television. And I was at the place where I was walking in Sausalito with a friend of mine, a female friend of mine, and I was telling her, I said, I don't think I want to do this anymore. I don't think I want to. I've been doing it for 15 years, giving my time. I think I want to watch the sunset. I think I want to take walks. And I said, I don't think I want to do TV unless I can get paid for it.
Mm.
And it was literally 2 months later, if that,
Oh.
that this opportunity came to me. And so we also have to put our intentions into the universe.
Yes.
We have to actualize what our dreams are. We have to actualize what our intentions are. The book, I have so many books that are sort of my Bibles, but The Secret is definitely my Bible.
Me too.
Living with intention, living in gratitude. Today, the program that I run for my sobriety also is sort of my working. I didn't have a working business plan for my life, right? It's great in business, but not for my life, my emotions, my coping. So that's my Bible today as well. But, waking up in gratitude, but also just setting your intentions into the day. I like my intentions every day is to be compassionate, understanding, and to come from a place of gratitude. If somebody tells me I need to improve something, trust me. TV, it's like I'm being microscopically watched and managed as a human, and in a very loving way, because they only want to see me succeed.
Yes.
But it's really hard to receive sometimes, and I really have to practice a place of gratitude and be grateful that they're giving me this note so that I can improve and be better. And you don't get there overnight.
No.
It takes a little bit of time to get there, but all of that plays into like how I approach each day and my day all the way through, and just how I get to where I get all the time. Because I think, again, I have all these little sayings I live by, but there is no such thing as luck.
Oh my gosh, Berlin.
When people
Berlin.
look lucky,
That was going to be my question. Do you believe in luck?
I don't. I
don't
believe
either.
opportunity and preparation intersecting, and that's where luck is.
Yes.
Luck is being prepared, and then being ready for the opportunity. And Oprah Winfrey always says that if you live in a place of gratitude, you recognize your opportunities, right? And then you're in line. But if you don't come from a place of gratitude, you can't see I got goosebumps. You can't see the blessings, and you can't see the opportunities. So luck for me is the alignment of the intersection of opportunity and preparation coming to one. Yes. And walking the line. And that's what I try to do in my life every day. When they ask me to do, there's so much more to me besides TV, but that's the thing that people like to talk about the most. And because it's like, who gets to go on TV and do a TV show, right? Like, it's not everybody, it's a small group of people. So when somebody like me, who's a hairstylist off the street, like, I was just taken off the street and groomed into this role, right? And so, when people have asked me along the way, like, we don't know why we're like, again, a book I read from a place of yes, which means saying yes. Yes. So often we say no to things because we're fearful. Like, when I first asked Christina, let's do television, and she was like, no, because she's used to being behind the camera. And I was like, you can do this. I will give you myself, and you will be able to do this, right? And now look at her. Like,
she's amazing.
And that's how I approach myself in a place of yes. And that goes with luck as well, where, when they came to me and they said, we have a situation where we would like you to fill in. Do you think you could do it? I'm like, yes. Or the first time I was asked to be an on-air beauty expert, and they were like, it was a show called on ABC called The View from the Bay with Spencer Christensen and Janelle Wang. And they were like, it was for the pilot, and they're like, can you put together a segment showing how you go from daytime to nighttime without going home, and a beauty segment? And I said yes. And then I went home and I just Googled, looked, read, asked, so that I could put this together. And that was the beginning of my career with television, and that was the beginning of my understanding of what it meant to come from a place of yes.
Mhm.
You if you don't take the corner, you don't get what's on the other side. You
No.
don't get it both ways. You can't come to the corner, stop, and then want what's on the other side. You have to take the corner, and I'm willing to take the corners. And I think that's where we. My last one, and I'll stop rambling. But
No, I love it.
if you draw a line, and it doesn't, the line is average. It doesn't matter how far you cross the line. It just matters that you cross the line. So you can cross that line of average and become above average. You can do it this far and you could do it this far. You could start crossing the line and work, but it just doesn't matter. You have to be willing to cross the line or you're forever going to be stuck in that place that you are.
And I love what you said, just cross the line. And I don't know who wrote about it, but it just do 1% every day, get 1% better, because it's so scary to look at jumping into, because you didn't just jump into the host, like you said, it took 15 years. And then it was, but also look how you talked about intention. It was 15 years in that you were doing the television, you were talking to your girlfriend, and you're like, hey, like I'm done with this. And then a couple of days later, so just it's like amazing how once you put that intention of your desire, it just kind of, it didn't come through overnight, but you put the rockets of intention out
But
there.
it comes through that way. Like when the pandemic started, I thought I was going to be homeless. I'm self-employed. I have two salon businesses, one in San Francisco, one in the Russian River area. I was like, which ship is going to sink? Because I can only save one. It was a very scary place to be in. Our rent was $11,000 a month in San Francisco. And it was like, what am I going to do, right? I got to save the ship. Well, I could save the ship in Guerneville easier because I had an outdoor parking lot. I just had more maneuverability in that space. But I also was like, right, this is really a big part of my life. But I was writing this story that I have this amount of money to get through this many months, and then I'll be homeless. Like, what happens if this lasts a year? I was thinking about what dog am I going to keep and give the other dogs away because I would only be able to sleep on one side of my car and the dog would have to sleep on the other side. Like, that's where my mind was going. And so, again, I talked about my sobriety, and I was at a meeting and I was listening, and I was on a Zoom meeting, and I was kind of like, oh, Zoom. And then usually when I roll my eyes is when the biggest nugget of greatness comes. I've learned to listen to that cue. And so this woman was talking about her sobriety, and she said, when she thought about getting sober, it was so dismal thinking to her. It was so depressing to her. But then once she released it and took her 24 hours at a time, she decided to not write the story. And when she decided not to write the story and let the story write itself, she got so much more out of it than it's possible. Well, I thought to myself, why can't we apply these principles? It says, apply these principles to all your affairs. Why can't I apply these principles to my regular life? And I
Yes.
stopped writing the homeless story. I stopped writing the broke story. I was broke. I had $5,000 to my name. I'm an open book. I will tell, you want to talk to me, I will give you the real story. I'm not going to front right here and be like, I had it. I had $5,000 to my name at the beginning of the pandemic. I just rebuilt my shop because it flooded in 2018. We got 5 feet of water. I didn't know what I was going to do, but what I heard was, don't write the story.
Yes.
With
Yes.
the story, let the story write itself. So I decided my approach to letting the story write itself is I'm going to wake up every day and I'm going to take a shower. And again, my sobriety is my superpower. If you ask me what my superpower is, it's being sober. Because while people were pretending they were on vacation and they were, which no judgment, I kind of wanted to do it too. But, I was like getting up and I said, I don't know what I'm getting dressed for, but I'm going to take a shower and get dressed for work. I don't know where I'm going to go, but I'm going to go to my shop and I'm going to figure it out. And without going through the whole thing, fast forward to the end of the pandemic, I own two homes. I have $100,000 in the bank, and I am, well on my way to retire, me being able to retire, and and probably double, triple that. My goal is to have $1,000,000 by the time I retire. That's my goal, is to have $1,000,000, and I'm a quarter of a way there from nothing 4 years ago. And it wasn't that it was given to me. It was that I took every opportunity and I was ready for it. I woke up in the morning and I was ready for the opportunity, and I took it, and I stopped writing the story. I bought a house for $25,000 that was ransacked, and while everybody was indoors, I was in the middle of nowhere rehabbing the house and remodeling it, and now it's for sale for 180,000, and I paid 25,000 for it. That to me is preparation and opportunity. It's not lucky.
No.
It's determination, and it's not writing the story, but it's allowing the story to write itself. And you have to be willing. You have to have willingness. You have to be willing to be vulnerable, scared, unknown, and look at those all as exciting things. Not like sometimes I have a client come in and they're like, she recently had a client come in and she's like, oh, I'm just so, upset about this with my parents and that with my parents. And I'm like, but has it happened yet?
Right.
And she's like, no. And I said, so why are you scared? Why are you sad? Why is this affecting your life today when it hasn't even happened? So there's a difference between reaction and response
Yes.
for me. And when I'm reacting to something, it's not real. False evidence appearing real.
I love that. Yes.
That's me reacting. So I ask myself, are you reacting or you're responding? The only way I can respond is like, if you do something right now, I can respond to you because it's actually happening. So it's a response. And so that's a really big tool in my life today too, is am I reacting or am I responding? And if I'm reacting, I dial it back and I'm like, dude, chill yourself out. Take a breath, talk to your higher power, have a moment. God to me is good, orderly direction.
Oh, I love that.
That's my God, good, orderly direction. And when I question it, I just watch the tree blow and I cannot see what's making the tree blow. So it's something greater than myself.
That's right. That's right.
And
And I always say, in the pandemic, same thing. It's like I had a choice. Either I was going to, go down that hole, or I was going to rise. And like you, I'd get up every morning and get ready for something. I mean, that's how I started this podcast. But I would go out into nature, which I really didn't do much before because I was a workaholic. And I would say, like, I'm out in nature. This is evidence that there is something greater than us. And I make an effort, consistently to surrender and rewrite the stories because I have the story. So I love how you said, let the story write itself. We have a choice.
we have a choice. We don't have to write each chapter before they've been lived.
Right. And like you said, rewriting it, letting it write itself. You talk about your sobriety and I know you've said that sobriety has changed your life. Two questions. What inspired you to get sober? Because the party culture is, just all around us and it's fun. So what inspired you to get sober and how has your life changed since you got sober and been in the rooms?
So first, I want to say to people that had a really low bottom, who really, bottomed out, meaning like, jail and big consequences and things like that. I always say thank you. Because of them, I don't have to do that. Because of them, I don't have to have a really hard bottom. So I always show appreciation for that first and foremost, because my story isn't that way. My story was that I more had an internal struggle with myself. I grew up at a time where I was being told that my sexuality, my life, my person wasn't valuable. It wasn't of value. I shouldn't be on the planet. I should be dead. I'm not allowed to have a relationship with God. All of these stereotype things that we see in the 80s and 90s, and 70s. And so that contributed to my pattern of finding my family in bars. When I came to San Francisco in 1986, and I was this conservative, buttoned up guy, and I just didn't know where to go or what to do. So my drinking wasn't a problem until it was a problem.
Mm.
I am not going to, when I talk when I do speaking around my sobriety, I'm very candid that I'm not going to color my entire life this horrible experience. I had some great times partying, some really fun times. It just didn't work till it didn't work. And I didn't know how to break that cycle. I didn't know, number one, that there was actually an alternative lifestyle. I thought that's what gay men did in San Francisco. They went to happy hour. They drank.
We all do that.
Drunk shopped, which is my favorite, right?
Yeah.
I love drunk shopping. I wake up in the morning from, passing out and see what I bought and how much I spent. Like, holy cow, now I'm going to be depressed and drink more. But, like it just was this cycle I didn't want to be a part of anymore. And I didn't know there was an alternative to that cycle. And I just decided that um, you know, I had changed so much in my life, but the one thing I didn't change was the longest relationship that I've had in my life, which is with alcohol.
Mm.
And I decided I was going to change my relationship with alcohol. I was going to break up with alcohol. And that it took me a little while to get on the bike and ride because I didn't have an outlet or a program or an outline. But I would say I'm also the kind of person that I like to clean the house before the housekeeper comes. So
Me too.
I wanted to get sober before I got sober. If that makes any sense at all. Like,
No, explain. So explain. You wanted to get sober before you got
so
sober.
I didn't want to just be like the party boy showing up at a meeting because I needed to clean the house.
Got it.
I was going to go meet with the housekeeper.
Got
So
it.
I needed to clean my house,
Yes.
get myself in order. So the people, because I had a reputation, people knew me and they knew me as the party guy, the party boy. I was that guy. And so I wanted you to take me serious. And the only way I could take me serious is if I took me serious. And then when I went into the program, I wanted you to take me serious because, as a recovering alcoholic, what you think of me is super important and I want everybody to like me. And that's part of our recovery is being able to let go of that and
Yes.
not need that. So at that time, I needed to feel welcome in the rooms and feel like I was sober enough to go in. That's my own jacked up thinking because that's not
Right.
why I thanked everybody in the beginning because it is a very lightweight way of going in. And I wanted to make friends that didn't drink and I didn't know where to go because I don't know anybody that doesn't drink or didn't at the time. And so one of my clients after a hairstyle session, I was like, I really want to do this and I'm nervous. And she's like, I'll go with you. And we went to my first meeting and April 21st, 2019, I haven't had a drink since. And I just celebrated 4 years.
4 years. Congratulations.
Yes. And so what sobriety has done for me is it's given me I'm always looking for the answer in everything. Right now I'm looking for answers, and when we're done, I'll redo this in my head and I'll find some answers. But I'm always looking for answers for everything, and I'm rolling my eyes. There's this really religious guy talking. I'm at this Christmas Day meeting, and I'm just listening, and I'm thinking, I got to get out of here. It's too religious for me. And the guy says, my inability to cope with my life, so I drank.
Mm.
And I was like, wait a second, wait. And I was like, my inability to cope with my life, so I drank. I drank if I was happy. I drank if I was sad. I drank if you disappointed me. I drank if I succeeded. My life was about using alcohol to cope with my life, no matter whether it was good or bad. That's where I found my ism. What was my ism? My ism was my inability to cope with my life, so I drank from the most least likely source on the planet. And there it was, bam, right in the forehead. And so then I started looking at the program as a way of, for me, the book, if I offend anyone, I apologize. We're not supposed to talk. We're supposed to say anonymous, radio, film, and press. But for me, like, it's my anonymity that I can break. I'm not breaking anyone else's. So for me, the book of Alcoholics Anonymous gave me an outline of how to live my life and cope with myself. All the promises I'd make God and I'd break. All the promises my destruction and my wreckage was with me. It wasn't things you could see. It wasn't being in jail. It wasn't losing my job. I was very successful most of my life. I was able to do all of that, but it was me. It was the unhappiness inside myself. It was the things that you couldn't see. And so when I started saying I wanted to stop drinking, my friends were like, you don't have a problem. You don't have a problem. And I came to a place in my crossroads where I was like, it doesn't have to be a problem for anyone else. It just has to be a problem for me. That's it. Simple. Anything in life. It doesn't have to be a problem for anyone else, just for me.
If it's not working for you, that's all that matters.
All that matters. You don't need to look for rationalizations or support or validation or, it's like when you, I'm recently learning this last 6 months. When you want to make a decision and you already know what the answer is, so you start asking everybody so you can get the answer that you actually want because you already know that the answer is opposite of what everybody's going to tell you. And you're trying to convince yourself to do what everybody's telling you because you know the answer is the opposite. It's the same thing. I don't need people to tell me that I don't have a problem with alcohol, because it's not a problem for them. It's a problem for me.
Right.
So all of these things are how sobriety's changed my life, because it's given me a plan of action of how to live successfully, not only outside externally, but internally. I would give away everything that I have materially to continue what I have inside if I had to make a choice, because I can always get that if I have this, but if I
Peace.
don't have this, I can't get that.
It's the peace, and, I'll share a little bit, someone very close in my life just, was having a problem with alcohol and recently just, got on the program, and the people around us are like, "What do you mean? Like, you don't have a problem." But like you said, if it's affecting within yourself, what you're doing, it's a problem. And I'm witnessing just the peace that, the person is experiencing, and you could see it in the face and just the entire, the life changes. And I'm learning it's like, it's not about getting sober, because you could get sober. It's about how to live a life of freedom and peace.
It's a program of living, not a program of dying.
And I
It's,
think it's fascinating, and it reminds me a lot of, I've been doing self-development for my entire life, and when, the person comes with these statements, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that sounds like, this." And it's been incredible. I think the book is incredible. It's incredible.
it's designed for life. It's designed for living. It's not for everybody.
Okay.
AA does not have the monopoly on sobriety, so let's just say that out loud. But it works for me, and it's worked for other people, and for me, I need like people. So I'll just get this part out of the way, and then I want to talk about that right there really quickly. But I people go, oh, it's a program. You're brainwashed. I needed my brain washed. I needed it wrung out and washed, and I needed that. It's a program. It's a cult. I needed to be reprogrammed. My
Yeah.
head wasn't working properly. I needed to find a way to reprogram my thinking, right? And so today, like sometimes I go, oh, I'm so boring, or because I don't drink and I don't do this. But I pray for serenity. I pray for exactly what you just said, which is peace.
Mm.
And then I get it and I label it boring. And now I can process that really fast. I mean, that was like my first year in sobriety. I was like, holy cow, I'm really boring. I don't want to drink because I actually like drinking. I want to drink because I'm more fun. Right. But then I went and sat somewhere in what I thought was fun, and it was chaotic to me. And I was like, holy cow, I'm mislabeling fun, chaos as fun. And I'm mislabeling I'm mislabeling peace as boring. And once I was able to make those connections in my thinking, and that's what the program does, it gives me the processing tools that today I go, no, I'm so peaceful. I wouldn't trade it for the world. I walk with peace. I can say, the one thing the pandemic gave me is my hula hoop space of serenity.
Mm.
And I can choose who comes into that and who doesn't. And
Right.
I have zero drama in my life.
Me too.
I hope it reflects in my being, you
No,
know.
it's amazing. And I could relate to what you said, because for so long my life was chaotic and I grew up in drama, and then you get addicted, it's that dopamine because you feel alive. And then when, I released the drama, then I was like, okay, this is boring. I'm like, no, this is not boring. This is peace. This is peace. And so now sometimes when I feel bored, I'm like, you're not bored. This is peace. Don't, you can get dopamine other ways. I don't need the drama. And I wouldn't trade it in for the world. I love the peace. And I was recently in Vegas, and I was in a like this little club, and I was sober, and I had the best freaking time, and I was in the flow, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, what'd you drink?" I'm like, "I didn't drink shit. I'm just in the flow and I feel good."
I've
And
recently started doing that. I wasn't able to do that in the beginning, but I recently started being able to go. One of the things I used to party a lot in Palm Springs, so
mm.
I challenged myself to go to Palm Springs and do everything. Uh, and so, what I mean by everything, I mean a jockstrap and a harness and boots, and a
Right on.
car, and I felt super comfortable and I had a great time. I don't need to do that, but I promised myself I was going to go to clubs, I was going to go dancing, I was going to do all this crazy stuff that I would do drunk or buzzed or whatever, and I'm going to go do it completely sober. And now, like I'm interacting into the real world, and I'm having a great time without, I don't even think about it, honestly. It's like I'm there's one liners. I'm a one liner king, but don't take the first drink, the drink takes you. There's nothing that a drink will solve. And with AA, the session of alcohol will be removed. And for me, the obsession with alcohol has been removed. And the last one is like, don't quit till the miracle happens. Don't quit before the miracle happens. In anything in life, don't quit
Yeah.
before the miracle happens.
And we were talking about that before. I just got emotional because there's miracles all around us and we take them for granted. Huh?
Don't cry because you'll make me cry. And then
I
I'll be
mean,
a boy
we
with eyeliner crying.
I love you to death. And the miracles, it's like we are surrounded by miracles, daily, and we miss the miracles.
Because we're not in a place of gratitude. The only
We
way to see the miracle is to live in gratitude.
Yes.
Because when you live in gratitude, everything around you is a blessing, and it's
Yeah.
a thankfulness that then you can say this is an opportunity. But when you're living in a place of anger and frustration and delusion,
Yeah.
delusion, you look at it as a attack, or you look at it as a criticism. When you criticize me, it's an opportunity for me to learn and grow and be better.
Yes.
I learned that in TV. I get said, don't wear this, or don't say this too many times. And at first I'm just like, oh my gosh, are you got to be kidding me? But then I back myself up and I'm like, wait a second. This is an opportunity for me to grow right now and to be a better host. So I'm just going to say thank you to the universe, God, good orderly direction, and I'm going to receive it. And then my opportunity grows and it
Yeah.
gets bigger because I'm coming from a place of gratitude. And so I want to talk really quickly because it's really important. And you mentioned it when we were off camera, but surrender to win. I had things tattooed on my. I mean, I'm a guy with tattoos on my face, right? So I have love and my mom's name because I was a mama's boy, and my mom died in 2018. And I made a decision I was going to celebrate my love and my life with her, and not be sad. So I don't spend any time being sad. I made a decision 2 weeks after she died that I had a great relationship. I got to say goodbye to her. I had a great relationship with her. And then I had this surrender to win I put there on a regular basis because it's the biggest thing that we just really bang our heads on is, what does surrender to win mean? And when I first heard it in my early on of sobriety, when I first heard that term, we are so used to having to win. Like winning means overtaking, overpowering, consuming, power grab. Those are all the kind of ideas of winning, being on top. But what if winning is actually taking a step back, laying down the sword? What if we were in a battle and we're battling for our lives, and we're only complicating it because we continue to battle.
That's
We
right.
continue to fight to win. And we spend our whole lives fighting to win, and we never achieve happiness. But what if we just lay down the sword, knowing in our own mind we are I'm going to get emotional too. Knowing in our own mind that laying that sword down isn't giving up, it isn't giving in, it isn't giving up on myself, it isn't giving up on my ideas, it isn't giving up on my passion, it isn't giving up on anything. It's surrendering to win in that moment. It's surrendering to move forward because we get so stuck trying to be right all the time. I'm really passionate about sobriety, and my life. We fight. I spent so much of my life convincing you I was right, and then convincing my partner I was right, convincing everyone around me I was right. We spend so much time wanting everyone to know we're right. I was in a parking lot in Cottingtown, and this guy flipped me off because I was going the wrong way. And my initial reaction is I wanted to loop through the parking lot and find him and let him know I'm a nice person, and I knew I was going the wrong way. And it was an accident, and I'm sorry. And I needed him to know that I'm a nice guy. And I had to stop and talk to my higher power and be like, I laughed. I started laughing. I needed to be right in that moment. And so I surrendered to win the moment. And I just said, you don't need that. You don't need to do that. You don't need to win in this moment. Winning is just surrendering and driving away with laughter and having a relationship with my higher power. And to me, I remind myself of that. Everything's opposite on it, but I remind myself of this every single day. So I needed it there. I needed it there for me And I needed it there for you to ask me so that I can remind myself what it means to lay down the sword.
I don't even know what to say because that's where the peace comes from the surrender, from the letting go. And you remind me, there's a picture where it says surrender and let it go, and the guy's grabbing on the rope and his hand's bleeding, but then when he let goes, the hand heals. And we want that sense of control for safety, to feel safe, when in reality, it's in the surrender that
We're
we're
also
safe.
taught that. At
Yeah,
a
we're
very
conditioned.
young age. We play sports. I'm not saying sports are bad or anything, but
I
we
love
we
sports.
are taught at a very young age the competitiveness, and then through our examples and through other situations, we develop this need to be right.
Well,
I
it's
don't
our ego too, and there's nothing wrong with ego. I'm not that person that's gonna say get rid of the ego, because our ego also serves us.
It does. We just need to be right sized. We don't need to
Yes,
be right. We just
yes,
need to be right sized. And when we're right
and
sized, our ego's right sized.
yes, and when I know, like, okay, I park like an asshole out there, and I know it, and if someone would put on my car, "You park like an asshole," I I own it, and my ego doesn't get hurt because I know I am a good person. I just I know what I'm doing. I was conscious, of it. And it goes back to, I know this is cliche, but when we know our worth and we love ourselves, those things, like you said, it makes you laugh. Like, you don't have to prove to him like you're a good person because you already know.
It was my ego for five. It was my ego. It was my what we
Totally.
thinking, thinking. I just wanted him to know that I knew I was going the wrong way,
That's like
and
me parking like an asshole.
I would needed him to know that. And then I saw myself, and the universe gives us to me again, gives us the example we need to learn. And I saw myself doing this. Now I recognize that in my life on a regular basis. When I'm getting ready to circle the parking lot, whatever that means, I can stop myself and be like, "You're circling the parking lot." Whether it's like telling a client that I'm right, or a situation that I'm right, or whatever. Like I don't like when I'm told something with the show and it's like, well, hopefully I don't get in trouble for this, but like my shirt was a little see-through last week and I didn't know that. And they're like, "Hey, can you be aware of your wardrobe?" Right? So I wanted to initially defend that and be like, well, I was right because I didn't know. But instead, I just said, you're right. I looked at it; it was right. I should wear a t-shirt for safety, and thank you. And I'll address that, and I'll be more aware of that. And to me,
Yes,
that's laying down the sword. Like there's nothing more that needs to go on after that. You
true.
know?
And also, like you talked about, a response as opposed to reacting, and that was a response as opposed to a reaction, and you
Yeah,
stayed in your peace.
yeah. It's a response of laying down this. It's like that's my circling the parking lot moment where I'm like, I don't need to circle the parking lot. There was one thing a week or so ago, I got another note and I wrote this big long email that I was just going to explain myself to you. And then I looked at it and I erased it and I just said, you're right. No big whoop.
I
Like
love
I wrote
that. And
an email and I reduced it to no big whoop.
I
And it
love
just,
so I love that because you just validated something for me, Berlin. Because most of my life I thought I was passive, right? Because something would come and it'd be like this big old thing, and I just be like, okay, no problem. And what I'm learning was, like, it wasn't passive. It was a way I learned to survive, and keep my peace. But I thought it was passive because I thought I'd have to, get up. And of course, there's times you have to defend yourself for sure.
of course.
But I didn't realize that that was a leadership quality that I innately had, and I thought I was just being passive, but it's not. It's
The
actually a
best
strength.
leaders, the best teachers are the students. You
Yes.
know, it's a cycle. Like when I'll bring it back to the AA thing. The only way that us people that have time under our belt continue to learn is when the newcomer comes in. And when the newcomer comes in, we teach them gratitude and we show them gratitude because they bring something to us to learn. And then when we
Yes.
learn, we can teach them. That's why we have sponsorship.
Yes.
That's why we sponsor. We give away what was so freely given to us. And so when you're saying no problem, you're not saying no problem, I don't have an opinion and I'm not a worthy person. You're saying no problem, I'm going to process this and I'm strong enough to listen and digest and process. And I don't need what I'm learning is I don't need to give it more power and make it
Yes.
bigger, because that's
Yes. And
not powerful. That's the
no, and yes, and it's becoming a game for me. So the game for me is making an effort to stay as neutral as possible. Of course, I feel my feelings and my emotions, and but the game for me in life is one, me against me. I compete against myself every day. And the other thing is how neutral can I be? Because it's a game. And I love like if I when I go in a situation and I get my ass kicked, for me, if I can stay neutral, like it feels amazing and I've won the game. But it's me against me, has nothing to do with anybody else.
surrender to win. That's laying
I
down the
love
sword. That's the surrender. You walk away, like when I said, "Okay, no big whoop." I changed from wanting to defend myself, wanting to be right, wanting you to know what I'm thinking, and I changed that to like, no big whoop. Like let's just like let it go, move on. And I
and you
used
diffuse
and I just diffused, de-escalated is the word I was looking for. I
yes.
de-escalated. Somehow we feel by escalating things we're bringing power closer to us, and we're escalating and escalating and escalating, and that's to me where the ego is bad, because that's our ego. Our small good ego begins to escalate and get out of control unless we can contain it into the good part of where it serves us. Where it
Yes.
serves us is to say no big whoop and let go. Or where it serves us is to say like, okay, I can do better. Thank you for the learning moment. Thank you for the
Mhm.
teaching. I can do better. And I think it's what's going on in the world today, and what's so can I cuss for a second?
I
What's
say
so
fuck all.
fucked up with the world is that we have so many teaching moments in front of us, and everybody's so busy being right and pushing their agenda,
Yes.
whatever it is, good, bad, evil, not evil, right, left. They're so busy pushing their agenda, they can't have a conversation. They can't have a de escalated conversation. So all these teaching moments, all these learning moments are lost. And we don't get that. And I walk on this planet trying to look at the teaching moments, the learning moments. I mean, I don't know how much time we have. I'll be very quick, but there was a racial situation in the shop that I worked at in San Francisco, and my client said something, and I just thought it was a term of endearment. I repeated it. It had nothing to do with black or white. It was something else. And I would joke with my coworker about it, and then the George Floyd thing went down, and I learned about unconscious racism that's innately in us because we grew up, white and young in a generation where racism was there. So there's just unconscious stuff that happens, and
Yes.
the George Floyd thing was a teaching moment for me. And I called my coworker who hadn't seen because of the pandemic, and I said, "I owe you an apology. I didn't know this was a racist statement." And I need to be accountable for it because I need it to be a teaching moment. And I just need you to hear my apology. I love you. I never not loved you. I never meant anything harmful of it, but it's not okay to say. And I need you to know that I now know it's not okay to say. And she thanked me, told me she loved me. She said she knew that it wasn't anything bad, but it is, that it kind of didn't come from a bad place, but she
Right.
did say it was offensive. And I appreciated her telling me the truth. And I
Oh
got to
my.
learn. And I
Yes.
take that every day with me today. And I walk
Yes.
with that. And it's unconscious.
Yeah.
And we need to be able to have those conversations,
Absolutely.
those open dialogues to learn and have our teaching moments so we can be better humans, and we can
Yes.
contribute to the vibration of the planet and start
Yes.
giving all Dolly Parton vibes up and down.
Yes. I love it. You know me, I'm a vibration snob. The higher the
Yeah,
vibration, the better it
Dolly
goes. I love it.
Parton vibes. Oh,
Yes, and I love the flow, and I love the energy with you because I could be here with you all day because 'cause you're gonna have to come back on again so we could talk more. But I'm
right.
gonna one question,
Yes.
last question. Someone who's, so many incredible creative, artistic, people around us, and they wanna go on that creative, artistic path, but they're told, "No, there's not gonna be, you can't be successful." What would you tell someone that's really interested in going down that artistic path?
First of all, surround yourself with winners,
Mm,
because the only people they're telling you no is people that don't do it themselves.
that's right.
When someone tells you no, you got this. Again, this is all stuff that was given to me by other people that have said to me, you have to calibrate the person, calibrate the situation. What does that mean? You have to look at it. Like, someone will come in and go, somebody told me my hair was horrible. And my question is, what their hair look like?
Consider the source.
So what did their hair look like? Did you love their hair? No. So you're going to take advice from somebody that you don't love their hair. Let's pretend life is your hair. So I'm going to tell you that I want to be. Do you know how many people told me I'd never be on TV because I have tattoos on my face? I would never have a product line. I have my own product line. I would never own a home. I would never have a salon. Do you know how many nevers I've heard because of who I am?
Me too.
And do you know that I have done all the nevers? Because I didn't listen to the nevers, because the nevers were the people that didn't try themselves. So
Yes.
somebody is trying to do something and you're asking somebody, don't come to me and ask me, because I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to be like, go for it. You may
Hell
need
yeah.
to go for it this way so you have a better approach because you're inexperienced, but I'm not going to tell you don't do that. You can't actualize that dream. You
Amen.
know, the people that tell you not to go after your dreams and not to dream big are the people that gave up their dreams and settled for less. And I would rather, I'm single, I'm 57 years old, I'm not afraid of who I am, what I am, I'm sober, and I don't settle. I would rather spend the rest of my life alone than settle to fill my space with a chairs filler, a seat
Amen.
filler, where I can be like, oh, I have a partner. I've had great partners, hot partners, young partners, old partners. I've had great people in my life. But, when I got sober, that all went behind me because I wanted to reshape that relationships in my life. And at this point, I'm not willing to accept anything less than. And what is less than? I don't know. I know when I see it, I know when I feel it. So the same thing with opportunity. Like, I'm not going to tell you not to do something because I would never tell myself not to do it. But if I'm telling you not to do something, then you need to look at me and say, where is he in his life? Is he here? And is he not crossing that line? Did they not
Yeah.
cross the line? Did they give up on their dreams? One thing that I'll make this really fast. One thing that really irritates me is when people say they don't have time to do their hair in the morning. You don't have 30 minutes in the morning to take to yourself for your presentation. You don't have 30 minutes. Because if you took that time, you're going to be a better husband, a better wife, a better lover, a better partner, a better friend, a better mother, a better father, if you took that 30 minutes for yourself. So if you're
Amen.
telling me that you don't have that time, then you're telling me that you're not crossing that line.
Oof.
You're going to stay below average.
Make the bed, baby. Make the bed.
Bed, honey, make the bed. And better yet, come home and mess that bed up.
Yes. I love that. 57, damn, you're gorgeous. I love it. You look amazing. And it comes from the inside out, baby.
It's sobriety. I don't know if we're ending, but I'm going to end toward, I think we're going in that direction. But I am, let's pretend I'm at the Oscars right now and I'm winning an Oscar. And so I first and foremost would thank my sobriety. There's nothing possible in my life today without being sober. It's a fact. It's a truth. I have my sober date tattooed right here. I have my birthday tattooed here. The reason being is that I'm OCD. I don't want to have to cross it out and start over. So I have to stick to this date. So I'm never going to drink again. But also, it just reminds me of from when I got sober to today, my life has changed exponentially in a way that I could have never written that story. I could have never written this story. So there's no way that all I got to do is look at that date, 4/21/2019, and know that I don't want anything that was before that.
And you know what? I want you to come back and I want you to talk to us about that 4-year journey from when you stopped to where you are today and how it's changed. I want to have you back.
Happy to. My favorite thing to talk about is sobriety, because if
Yes.
one person can see that I can do this, that this person right here can get sober and change his life, anybody can do it.
I love
Any
it.
person on the planet can do it.
Thank you so much for joining me today, and I mean it. Like, I want you back. We'll definitely connect again because I want to talk about that.
Well, we're gonna have you on TV too again soon. We got to
Oh
figure
yeah,
it
I'm always down to come on TV.
out. I know. Get Grace. I need her to model. I need to see her.
Yeah, sweetheart, sweetheart. Don't go, Berlin. Hang on with me. Thank you guys so much for watching us, watching on the replay. It's a pleasure, and I'm so grateful. I know there's so many different places that you can be, and I'm grateful that you're here with us, and grateful that Berlin was here with me. I really wish you an incredible rest of the day, and to those of you on the replay, thank you so much, and I'll be back and see you soon. Bye, y'all. Thank you so much.